This is Ray Carsillo with Christopher Bell, the director of Bigger, Stronger, Faster, The Side Effects of Being American. Chris, first off, thank you for joining me today on 1050 ESPN Radio in New York. First off, this movie, it looks great. It's really an issue that a lot of people in America are really struggling with. So my first question to you is, what inspired you to do a movie on, I guess, steroid culture in America?
Well, it's interesting because the movie kind of centers around steroids, but there's so many more themes that are explored in it because the steroid issue, what it does, it really presents a lot of these different concepts and ideas in our society of cheating and morality and legality and all these other issues surrounding it. So it was such a complex, big issue, and no one's ever tackled it before. And since I had firsthand experience, I had tried steroids at one point, and I felt really guilty about it, and so I stopped after about a month. But I had two brothers that were taking steroids really, really seriously, and they were really into it. And my younger brother bench presses 800 pounds, and so it's
wow.
It's something that we've had experience with, and we know about. And I knew that going out and trying to talk to a lot of professional athletes, they weren't going to tell me the truth, and the truth really lies within my two brothers who were being really honest about the issue.
So this came within your family that you really kind of dealt with this. Really was more of almost a personal issue that you had to deal with. Now, what was the breaking point for you and your brothers maybe to try this out, to say, you know what, I need to do this?
It's funny because, like I said, when the issue is so complex, we all come from the same background and from the same household, but we all had different reasons for using steroids. My older brother used steroids because he went to play Division I football at the University of Cincinnati. And a week after he was there, he got on the juice because that's what everybody was doing. And that's all the guys who were, advancing were doing it. When I was about 26 years old, my brother was about 19 at the time. When I was about 26 years old, I was living in California, working at a Gold's Gym, and every guy has a six-pack and they're ripped and they look great. And I was always kind of the fat, pale, short kid from Poughkeepsie.
I still am the fat, pale kid from Poughkeepsie, or from Jersey anyways, so I feel you there.
So that was the thing. It was like, how do I get in shape and look like these guys? And so I figured steroids was a way to do it or try it, but I felt really guilty about it. So like I said, I stopped. My younger brother actually didn't start using steroids till around, he was 25 years old maybe, and he was trying to get into the WWE as a wrestler. So everybody else was, a lot bigger than him, and I guess a lot of the guys were doing it as well. I can't really speak for them, but from what my brother tells me, that's kind of the case. It's like kind of everybody was doing it to get bigger and look good on TV. So we all had kind of different reasons for doing it. But, with my younger brother, he stopped wrestling because he had a child and he didn't want to travel. And when he stopped wrestling and had a kid, he still stayed on steroids because he loved powerlifting. And so he started pursuing that.
Now, you said you quit steroids. Is there a possibility of an addictive quality to some of these steroids? I mean,
we found that through 3 years of medical research, there's no proof that any of this is addictive. It's actually a hormone that's made in your body. So there's nothing to really get addicted or withdraw from necessarily. But there are some side effects when like when you come off of steroids. Testosterone increases your, it basically increases your happiness, I should say, or your mood. It elevates your mood, right? So when you get off of steroids, there's some depression that kind of follows and things like that. But it's more because you're coming back down to where you normally were, not really below that. And there's really, like I said, like a big part of this movie is a call for more research because they really need to do more research on these drugs because everybody's using them anyway. And I think that's the problem is like people are going to use them, so let's talk about it and research it so that if people are going to choose to do it, like do it safely. Like in the movie, I don't condone it at all, but I'm saying, let's study it and let's look at it.
Did you personally feel any of these side effects when you stopped taking steroids, and how did you fight through that if you did?
No, I didn't have any side effects. I think that like a lot of the side effects come from steroid abuse and not steroid use. There's a whole huge industry of anti-aging, kind of out there that basically people are using human growth hormone and testosterone to basically cosmetically change your appearance, but also to feel better, to perform better, to be able to wake up in the morning and feel great. And that's all, the same. It's the same exact drug in a smaller, safer dosage and monitored by a doctor. And I think that that's really important, is that the doctors are, if somebody's going to do it, that they do get monitored.
Now, of course, in the movie, you make reference of, I've seen clips, you mentioned when Hulk admits to 12 years of Hulk Hogan amidst the 12 years of usage, and Sly Stallone and Barry Bonds and all the other people who have either been it's alluded to or have come out and admitted that they've used them. How much do you think the media and that this issue getting out there now and these figures in our society has attributed to steroid usage becoming a much more prominent?
It's funny because in the media, it's such a, no pun intended, but a juicy topic. It's like when you say steroids, it's a buzzword. And I think that definitely has become something that people love to write about and people love to talk about. But also, like the guys that I grew up worshiping basically were Hulk Hogan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sylvester Stallone. And I would go see every movie. I'd go see every Hulk Hogan, wrestling match. And at some point I found out that all my heroes were using steroids. So I think that definitely plays into the fact that a lot of people, that I encountered in the movie try to tell me, oh, just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that you'll do it. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that a lot of the reasons why I tried steroids was because I was bombarded with images of guys that were ripped and guys that looked great. And I think that was the pressure that I felt, personally. So I can speak for myself on that matter. Is basically I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I didn't look like an American male should,
Well, at least you didn't go see the Hulk Hogan movies. Suburban Commando was very forgettable.
Mr. Nanny, right?
Exactly. You also met with some congressmen, and you referenced different politicians and sound bites from that. In Washington, do you think they're taking this issue as seriously as they should be, or as they say they're taking it?
I don't think anybody's approaching this topic in the right manner, and I think that a film like this can help that. I'm not out here to bash or go after any politicians or anybody about this issue. I just basically would love for them to see the film and be able to talk about it in a more intelligent manner, because what's going on is that they're making all these laws and passing all, doing these things with baseball players and whatever, and should they really be involved in that, or should we I think they're actually taking it too seriously in some manners, but I also think that they're not getting to the core of the problem. There's not a test for human growth hormone, so how do we know that everybody in baseball, football, the Olympics is using human growth hormone? We don't know. And so, if somebody wants to get to the bottom of it, they need to put more money into researching, drug testing, all these other things,
Was there any, along the way in your research, like you said, you tried talking to a lot of different athletes and people. Were there any surprise people that maybe somebody had given you a name that you found out was maybe on steroids?
It's funny because there's a lot of stuff that kind of surfaces in the movie, but the movie wasn't intended to really point out who was on steroids. It's kind of intended to say, why we use steroids. Like, why are people so obsessed with this body image? So, in the film, we definitely talk about certain athletes, like, for example, Carl Lewis, who wasn't using steroids, but he was disqualified from the '88 Olympics for using stimulants, still allowed to run in that race because they made up a rule saying that he inadvertently took these stimulants. So you look at all the hypocrisy surrounding the drug testing and surrounding the athletes, and when there's a lot of money involved, you see that, a lot of times some people don't really follow the rules.
You have all this drug education now in high schools and in middle schools, and it obviously, even though more people are being educated about it, still people choose to use it. Do you think that everybody just automatically saying that, this is wrong, this is illegal, this is immoral, and then basically double talking behind the back?
As soon as we say that steroids are bad or we need to crack down on it, makes kids want to go out and try it. I think we all know that. There was a music video that was actually really funny called "Stop the Madness," where they were trying to stop kids from doing drugs, and they would sing "Stop the Madness." And everybody in the entire video was like Whitney Houston and Corey Feldman and Lyle Alzado and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everybody's used drugs. We have to educate the kids, and they can make their own decisions. And it's all about how these kids grow up and how they're influenced by each other. And the more they know, the better off they are in any circumstance.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you for coming on with me today. The movie is Bigger, Stronger, Faster, The Side Effects of Being American. It comes out in New York and California on Friday, May the 30th, and then it will be released in other theaters nationwide shortly thereafter that, correct?
Yeah, I think the following week, June 6th, it'll go out to a bunch more cities, and then probably by June 13th, it'll be rolled out all over the country.
Nice, awesome. Chris, thanks for coming on again today, and the best of luck to you, man.
Thanks for having me.